I'm going to talk about something really serious. So there was a downside of being a rabbi's daughter. Now, this is a little more than you probably need to know, but I'm going to tell you anyway because it's interesting. So the rabbi was actually my adopted father. So my mother was a young woman married to a doctor with 3 children, ages 6, 4, and 1, when my 35-year-old father died of Hodgkin's disease. His best friend was the rabbi. And it is my understanding, I didn't understand it at the time, but much later in life, that the 2 men made a deal. That the rabbi, who was divorced, would marry this beautiful, young, 30-year-old woman and adopt and take care of her 3 children. So that's how becoming the rabbi's daughter started. The slight advantage to that was that we got a combined name, which wasn't popular then. So we became Narretbergs. But people didn't, now everybody has these combo names, but we didn't have them then. So the Narret always got dropped and we were just Bergs. So we didn't have the rabbi's name. I mean, this was helpful somewhat, like in Sunday school. Somebody didn't necessarily know I was the rabbi's daughter because I had a different name. So some of the things that rabbis' children will tell you about, everybody knows you're the rabbi's child, so they expect certain things of you. That wasn't really the down part for me. Here's the down part. The down part for me is that my rabbi adopted father suffered from very severe depression and eventually committed suicide, which was a huge deal in this community when that happened. And nobody knew. Nobody knew he was depressed except the family, and primarily me, because he had 2 kids from a previous marriage, 3 of us, but nobody lived here except me during this really bad time. And so I was the one that got all the phone calls. And because nobody wants to think of the rabbi as being human. He didn't really have anybody else to turn to. And I got all the calls. He and my mother had some problems, so I got all the calls. I was only 22, 23, 24. I was getting these very serious suicidal phone calls. Finally, one night, he didn't call me. And he just did it. Very organized, left a whole dining room table. I found him with the police, but I mean, knowing he was missing, went with the, and knowing he was suicidal, went with the police. Everything was very organized. He designed his entire funeral. I want this rabbi to speak, and I want the cantor to sing this. It was no mistake, no accident, no. But the community couldn't accept that he really killed himself. They all wanted to think it was an accident, it was a mistake. For years and years and years and years and years. And nobody really ever wanted to talk to me about it. New rabbis who came into the community didn't want to talk to me about it. Existing rabbis didn't want to talk to me about it. It was a burden. It was really hard. It wasn't until Robin Williams killed himself that I was able to call the current then rabbi of Temple Israel and say, are you planning to give a sermon about how people that the public adore and love can suffer from mental illness? And he said, yes. And I said, can you include my father? And I'm going to cry, I'm sorry. And he said, yes, I can. Will you come? I said, of course. So I came, and it was the first time, and this was only a few years ago. I mean, my father committed suicide in 1980, that there was a public discussion.